What is going on, everybody? GoofyRhexxi here, and hope everybody is doing well. And in today's video, we're going to be doing an updated beginner guide on your early options or your beginner options for each campaign. So your heroes, your villains campaign, your mystic, and then also your cosmic campaign. Not going to talk about Nexus specifically because you can piece together, based on the information I'm going to share with you today, you can piece that together and put together a Nexus team. I'm also not going to be talking about the Doom campaign because I feel like that sort of warrants its own video because of the specific requirements that you do need. So we're going to talk about that in a separate video, and that's going to be more of a mid-game guide since you kind of have to get to level 70 and 75 before you do some of that content. But in today's video, the way I'm going to be breaking it down is I'm going to give you your team options, your full team options. I'm also going to break it down by individual characters that you can use to make sort of hybrid teams. And I'm also going to be talking about your buy or your luck options as well that you can use. So going to be a fun video today, guys. And we're going to start right now. All right, everybody, welcome back. And we're going to dive right into the video here. So the first team option I'm going to give you for your heroes campaign. So we're starting off with heroes. The first team option I'm going to give you here is going to be for your Wave 1 Avengers team. Now, this is probably sort of an easy, obvious option for you. The reason why they're number one, they're a good team. They're not like the top tier echelon team, but they're a good team to start off with. A lot of the characters that you can actually get them fairly early. So Thor and Captain America, you can get through a login calendar. Black Widow actually has a calendar right now, but that's going to be ending soon, so not completely relevant. But I do know, or I've seen where you can also get Black Widow and Hawkeye through the Strike Pass. So that they definitely become a pretty good, viable early game option as well. And Hulk, you can also get through the achievements. The Wave 1 Avengers team, they synergize pretty well. They can get some of the content, the early content done, the Heroes campaign, but they can also be viable for some of the other stuff in the game too. So your ISO campaign, where you do need global characters, you can't use Thor, but you can use Black Widow, Cap, Hulk, and then you can also use Hawkeye as well. Once you do get to the Doom campaign, which is something we're going to talk about in another video, but when you do get to the Doom campaign to 3-star that Negasonic node, obviously you need Negasonic for Doc Ock. If you don't know that already, you need Negasonic to unlock Dr. Octopus. Then the Wave 1 Avengers can definitely be a really good option for you as well once you do get to that late game content. So very good team, very good option that I would recommend. The ease of being able to get them is also good as well. So therefore definitely would recommend them as your first sort of beginner full team that you can use for your heroes campaign. Now, if we're going to talk about your hybrid options or individual character options that you can use and sort of piece together to make hybrid teams here, then all these characters that you see that I have here with all these blue hearts, all of them are viable options for you. So I think Gamora stands out as an obvious option. The new Infinity Watch team, they're insane. They're amazing, man. So using Gamora makes a lot of sense, right? So therefore she's here. There's really not much to talk about with Gamora. She's amazing. Symbiote Spider-Man is kind of a buy or luck option that you could recommend, that I would recommend here. The reason why I say luck, he's in the Milestone 2 orb. It's kind of going to be difficult for you to control those drops. He's 100 shard unlock as well. So it kind of makes it a little challenging to be able to get him. But he is a very good option for heroes if you can get him early or get lucky with him, because you can use him for Heroes Chapter 7-1, which you'll need to be in order to be able to then transfer over to your Villains Chapter 7-1, 7-2, 7-3, and so on. So therefore, Symbiote Spider-Man becomes a great option there. Night Nurse, I also have her down here as well. She's a phenomenal sustain and healer. She got a phenomenal rework a few months back. So I definitely wanted to put her here as an option. She's also a Hero City character, as well as Symbiote Spider-Man. There are Hero City characters that you can use for your block party event that rolls around every 2 months, where you can get those T2s, those T1s, T2s, T3s, and then later on, as you get to tier 7, you can get those tier 4s as well. So Night Nurse becomes a very good viable option there. Night Nurse is also part of Shadowland later on. So some good characters here that you can use later game. I'm not going to say that they're going to future-proof your roster, because I think that the game has changed so much to where power leap is a thing and new characters get introduced every now and again and sort of can push some old characters out. But as of right now, where the meta is, Night Nurse is a very good character. Yo-Yo is a good option as well, I think, for heroes if you can get her. She's in the raid store and you can use her. Her offense down is very relevant, right? Being able to put offense down on another character gives your team more options for you to be able to survive. So if you can grab it from the raid store, or if you get lucky with the raid store with some raid store drops here, then Yo-Yo can be an option that you can use for your heroes campaign. I do also have a Miss Marvel here as well. Now, she's a cheap option. She's a 15 shard unlock, so you can actually get fairly lucky with getting her. Otherwise, she is in the Mystic campaign. I think she's a Mystic 2/6. But the reason why I have her here as an option is because she is a hero brawler. And some of the options that I'm mentioning on this list right now, Gamora, Symbiote Spider-Man, they are hero brawlers. And there is an assist mechanic with Miss Marvel, with Symbiote Spider-Man, and with Gamora that works quite well and can help you with some of these matchups here. Miss Marvel is also a city hero character, which you once again block party, some of your the gold rush challenges. How could I forget that? The gold rush challenge, you can also use Miss Marvel there as well. So therefore I kind of put her down as an option here too as well. And then Captain Marvel, not a great character, not a great individual character, but Captain Marvel, you are going to get her fairly easily. Once you get to level 50 or 55, I believe, you get a login calendar for Captain Marvel. So you get a quick 100 shard unlock for her. If you don't have any other good hero options available to you, then Captain Marvel is a good option there as well. She can also be using the Cosmic campaign, and she also does have that hero brawler synergy again with Miss Marvel. So these are some of the options that you have available elsewhere. Now, obvi, right? If you get lucky with some of these other characters, you can use them as well. So let's talk about them. Silver Surfer. If you're willing to spend money, if there's an offer in the store for Silver Surfer, you get an opportunity to unlock him, then Silver Surfer becomes a great option for you in various parts of the game, not just in the Heroes campaign, excuse me, but also in some of the other campaigns as well. So your Mystic campaign and of course your Cosmic campaign. Kestrel, same thing, best character in the game. You have to kind of get lucky with premium orb drops for her right now, but if you're willing to spend money to unlock her, and if she does pop up in the store, then those are some options as well. Infinity Watches here. There's a few other options here, but I didn't want to overwhelm with too much. I wanted to kind of focus on some of these cheaper options that you can get early and often that you can use once you to get through the Heroes campaign. So let's now kind of transition over into the Villains campaign. All right, so when it comes to the Villains campaign, it's a little more clear cut. And I will say this right now, let me pause. I know this is a lot of information to take in. So of course, if you need to kind of watch this in pieces, I completely understand. Or if you have questions, just leave it down in the comments, guys. I'm more than happy to answer those questions. I know that this is a lot of information to take in here, but your team options that you have available to you are, one of them is the Sinister Six Team. Now, the targeted characters here would be Mysterio, Electro, Swarm, and Rhino. Both Electro and Rhino are in the Blitz store, so you can probably open up orbs and then land shards for these characters in the Blitz store, or you can target farm them. Rhino is a 15 shard unlock, and Electro is a 45 shard unlock. Swarm is the recommended character for the Arena store, so if you're going to go after a character to start off with in the Arena store, then Swarm would be the character to go after. And then Mysterio is also in a node. What node is he in right now? He is currently in Heroes 2-3, so kind of easy to get to if you've already gotten your Wave 1 Avengers team sort of built up. You can probably get to that node fairly easy. The other three characters, Goblin, Vulture, Shocker, it's really kind of up to you who you want to use. Just pick one. I probably wouldn't go with Vulture because he's in the Arena store, although he's pretty good actually. But I wouldn't go with him in the Arena store just simply because you don't want to double down on the Arena store. Just focus on one character there. But Shocker and Goblin will provide some viable option for it. Will be a good fifth option as well. But Sinister Six is a good team option. They unlock two legendary characters, Invisible Woman, and they also unlock Shuri. Those two legendary characters aren't necessarily top tier characters in Marvel Strike Force, but they are still usable right now, even in endgame content. I'm still using them right now to this day. Invisible Woman and War, Shuri for a lot of the Greek raids. And then also I'm seeing some players using her right now for those Doom raids as well. So still a good character for you to invest into. Also, once you do get to Villains Chapter 7, you can use either Sinister Six options. You have a restriction to use either Sinister Six, Hydra, or to use the AIM team. And because Sinister Six, they unlock two legendaries, it sort of kind of makes sense to use some of these Sinister Six characters to get through Villains 7-1, 7-2, and then also 7-3. So they're a pretty good, decent villain option that you can use. Now, another option that's available, I don't like this option very much, is the AIM team. They're a team that can take some very minimal investment to get through some of the content that's in this game. They synergize very well together, but ultimately I don't think that they are necessarily a good team or they don't really provide any value. They provide value, that's not true, but they're just not a team that's necessary in the game. Let's put it that way. They're a team that is not necessary in the game. And when you're looking at where you're going to put your resources, I wouldn't put my resources into the AIM team. Graviton is also in the War Store, and he definitely is a character that you want to use on this team. And there's just other characters that are in the War Store that I would recommend going after. But AIM team is a good team. Scientist Supreme, Graviton, AIM Assaulter, AIM Security, AIM Researcher are probably my 5 recommended AIM characters, but you can also use AIM Monstrosity because he's available in the Blitz Store and fairly easy to get. But some other options that you have available, some individual character options that you have available to you here that I would definitely recommend are these. So Baron Zemo, great option. He's in the Raid Store. He'll make a lot of your villains campaigns super easy, especially once you get to Villains Chapter 7. He's going to be able to take care of those chapters. Hero 7-1, 7-2, and then 7-3. He'll be able to take care of a lot of that for you because there's a lot of minions in those nodes. And Baron Zemo really wrecks minions. So I definitely would say Baron Zemo is a top tier option for villains if you can get him. Also would be my #1 recommended character to farm first in the Raid Store. Target farm him, unlock him, and then later on you can go after opening up some Raid Orbs. But I definitely would say Baron Zemo is a #1 top option for your villains campaign. He's also pretty good in Arena. He's good in a few other areas in the game. You can also even use him in Dark Dimension. Not great, but does provide some value for you in Dark Dimension. On my beginner account, I actually used him on a team, on my Dark Dimension 2 team, and he was pretty good there as well. So good recommended option. I would go after Zemo. Nebula, obviously we got to talk about Nebula here, the Infinity Watch team. Top team in Marvel Strike Force right now. So how could we not talk about Nebula, right? She pairs very well with Gamora. And we're going to talk about another campaign where Nebula and Gamora become viable options. So very good to go after Nebula as well. Top tier team in the game. Not really much to talk about. Now, Nebula is in Nexus 4-6. So that could be quite challenging to get to as a very, very beginner player. But once you sort of progress in the game, oh no, let's pause. She's a 15 shard unlock, so you can kind of get lucky with some shards for Nebula. So therefore, I still want to put her on this list. Also, she's a part of the top tier team in the game, so therefore she had to make it on this list. Now, some other options that are available to you: Ghost, she's in the War Store. Sinister, also in the War Store. These 2 characters individually are great. They're even better in Dark Dimension. They're phenomenal characters there as well. Mr. Sinister can provide some solid sustain for your team. Also can provide you with some good, solid clones as well. Ghost, just amazing. Her abilities, like I said, are better in Dark Dimension, but she still provides some good value outside of that as well. She's also a character that you can use to unlock the legendary Jubilee. So, I mean, really good option, really good character to invest into early enough. You know, health steal, prolonging negative effects, reducing speed bar. Those things are definitely relevant, and she can also be a good global character that you can use for your ISO campaign as well. Also, Sinister and Zemo. These 3 characters here, Ghost, Sinister, Zemo, are good characters that you can use for the ISO campaign once you get to level 55 as well. Some other characters that are available: Minerva, she'll provide you some good solid sustain, and also for some of the villains campaigns that you go through, right? You're probably gonna, in order to 3-star some of them, you might lose some characters. Minerva can provide a very good solid res that would definitely be helpful for your team. And then some other available options that are here: Carnage, Venom. If you do get Symbiote Spider-Man, you can invest into these characters. I wouldn't recommend target farming any one of them initially, Carnage or Venom. But if you do get lucky with some shards for them, then I definitely would recommend investing into them. Hela is more of a buy option for me because Hela is, you can't get to her node to farm her until you get to Villains Chapter 7-6. But if you do get some good shards for her, she definitely is a good viable option. She also pairs very well with Minerva because of Greg, so that's also pretty good too. Juggernaut is also another recommended option too. He's a very good tank. And also, once you do get to Villains Chapter 7-6 or Villains Chapter 7, there's a mystic villain section there. Juggernaut is a mystic villain, and there are actually not a lot of good mystic villain characters. Juggernaut will provide a good option for you there to also be able to 3-star that Hela node. Loki and also Mordo as well are some pretty good options that you can invest into for those villains campaigns. So let's jump right now into some characters that you have available for the Cosmic campaign. All right, so for your Cosmic campaign, you're going to start to see some familiar faces. Yes. Yeah, we've already talked about pretty much basically all of these characters already, right? Your Cosmic options are fairly simple when you have these two characters, Gamora and Nebula. They are the new beginner meta team. Infinity Watch, this is a new beginner meta combination. So Nebula and Gamora definitely make this list. As a matter of fact, it probably doesn't really matter much. The rest of the characters that you use here, Nebula and Gamora, can probably walk through the Cosmic campaign for you. Now, other options, obviously Minerva. We've talked about Loki already. We've talked about Mordo. I didn't mention this previously when we talked about villains, but Mordo is also a mystic villain character that you can use for your villains chapter 7-6. So definitely Mordo comes in on this list as well. Thor, you probably already invested into a little bit because of your Wave 1 Avengers team if you chose to go in that direction. So therefore Thor becomes a viable option here as well. Hela, a buy option or a luck option, but still very good for your Cosmic campaign. But like I said, man, really, Nebula and Gamora are going to hard carry the Cosmic campaign for you. And it's not really as challenging, really, the Cosmic campaign until you get to like chapter 3. So really, you probably can go in with like a 3-person team: Minerva, Nebula, Gamora. Minerva just for a res, right? You can probably just go in with like a 3-person team and kind of get the nodes done. I think you can only use 3 characters. I don't think you have to use a full 5 team to be able to get those campaign nodes done. So really, some really solid options. Now, if you get lucky with some other characters like maybe Thanos, obviously Kestrel, Surfer, then that changes the dynamic a little bit. Even some of the other Infinity Watch characters, Phyla-Vell, and then also Moondragon, then that also becomes a pretty good thing for you too as well. So that also I would recommend it. Or like I said, scrolling down a little bit here, Shatterstar, Longshot. These are 2 characters that unlock legendary characters if you get lucky with them as well. Longshot's also in the War Star. Oh shoot, I got a 6-star Longshot. I got to upgrade that. But if you do get lucky with some shards here for Shatterstar, if you do farm Longshot in the War Store and you unlock him, then at least you do have a good option here for your Cosmic campaign as well. So that's pretty much it that's pretty much it basically for the Cosmic campaign. Let's talk about your Mystic campaign now. I didn't realize this is probably literally the exact same characters that we're going to talk about again, but seriously, Hela, Juggernaut, Loki, Mordo, Thor, Silver Surfer, as a luck option as well, is there. But there are also a few other characters to talk about, right? Ghost Rider is pretty good, or is a pretty good filler character that you can use. Elektra right now is definitely a part of the meta, so you could probably use her as well. I think you do get her pretty early. Mystic is probably the options, or the options for Mystic characters in the game is very slim. This is definitely something that they need to fix. I didn't realize this, but you have a plethora of heroes, plethora of villains, and even an expansive Cosmic roster, but not so much Mystic characters. There really is not a lot that you have available to you here. And some of these options are sort of pay options, right? Or late game options. Thanos, you can't get to him until the late Nexus campaign. Silver Surfer, you got to buy him to get him right now. Adam Warlock is a legendary. Doom is in DD4. Ebony Maw is a legendary that you need another legendary to unlock. Moon Knight, White Tiger aren't farmable. So really, in general, a lot of these characters are actually fine, but you can't really get to them. Now, team options for Cosmic and actually Mystic, for Cosmic, you can use Infinity Watch fully, but for Mystic campaign, you actually do have the full Asgardian team minus Sif that you can use for the Mystic campaign. But honestly, realistically, Loki, Hela are good. Even Mordo, Thor, Loki, Juggernaut can get most of the content done. Once you get to some of the later, like chapter 3 in the Mystic campaign, you're probably going to need a little bit more firepower. But like I said, I mean, the options are fairly slim. These are sort of like the 5 characters that you have available to you. It gets a little challenging as you kind of move on. White Tiger, Moon Knight. So the options for Mystic become a little bit more challenging, but hopefully by the time that you do get to the Mystic campaign, you would have gotten lucky with some shards for maybe Loki. Mordo, you can target farm in the Arena Store. You can target farm Juggernaut in the Arena Store. Thor, you would have already had. And hopefully you can kind of piece together some other two options. Hela becomes very good there. That you can use as well. Actually, these 5 characters here can probably get through the entirety of the Mystic campaign, Thanos, and some other options if you have available to you. But I also wanted to mention this, even though we're not going to be talking about some of these other campaigns here, I also wanted to mention this as well. even though these are the characters that are good right now, there's always this new meta that's changing, right? Obviously, we can see Kestrel, Silver Surfer. That's kind of like the new meta that's changing right now. But right now there are these 3 new meta characters that are being introduced into Marvel Strike Force. You have Captain Sam, you have Sharon Carter, you have Maria Hill. And right now, Captain Sam and Sharon Carter are pretty good viable options for some of your campaign stuff. Obviously, they're heroes, but they're also raid characters that you can use as well. So basically what I'm saying with this is that pay attention to those new characters that are introduced into the Marvel Strike Force. There's Power Creep, there's Power Leap, and those new characters typically tend to be better than some of the older options that are available. Now, the options that I just talked about in this video, they are still good right now, even though some of them are older characters and they definitely can get the job done. But what I'm saying is that as new characters get introduced into the game, pay attention to those characters and see whether or not they may be better than some of even the older options that I'll recommend. But I'm also going to make sure that I keep a little bit more of a post on this, or let's say this. I always keep a post on it, but I'm going to start making sure that I do some more updated videos here talking about some of the new characters that are available to you in Marvel Strike Force that you can definitely use. But hopefully this video was helpful. I wish that there were some better Mystic options that I could go through with you guys that would be a little bit more helpful. But there aren't currently right now. But hopefully, like I said, as you continue to progress through your roster, you'll find some good viable options that you can use there. But I appreciate you guys watching the video. Leave any questions, any comments, leave that down below, guys. I would love to hear from you guys. Appreciate you guys so much. My baby boy is screaming and having some fun over there, so I'm gonna go have some fun with him too, guys. Appreciate you guys so much. Y'all be blessed and y'all be safe. Whew, long video, man. Long video. Please leave in the comments, guys. Let me know. Let me know if you guys have any questions. I'm here. I'm here for you. It's a lot. It's a lot. It is. Is it lunchtime?